20th anniversary, and they brought another little Chihuahua out, long-haired brown Chihuahua, and said, "Doesn't that little dog of yours need a little sister?"
Ooh.
So now I have my hands filled because I also have a rescue cat. And so
good.
it was easy for me to make that poster.
Sure. Oh, that's very nice. And again, you've used your talent to help the world in a large scope. A lot of people can enjoy what you do this way.
I hope that people enjoy it, but for me, it's just doing what I can.
Speaking of doing the things you do for large groups, I mean, you also do things for people, for individuals. And I know that we have here on the table an example of something that could be done for an individual. This beautiful, large fanciful flight sculpture that's down here in front of you. Tell me about this. What is it? How did all this come about?
Sure. Before my days when I licensed my designs, there were 10 years of me going off to trade shows and creating my originals and having them hang in galleries. And my very first pieces were of just natural copper. And I found broken jewelry, crystals, anything I could find that would be pretty and sparkling to hang off. Slowly but surely, I found little miniatures and charms and began to tell a specific story of a person and was commissioned to do so. It was really, I left off doing this about 10 years, so I've just started doing it again. And this piece that you're looking at is a special commission for someone. It's top secret. It's for someone's mom.
Okay, we won't reveal.
And it tells the story of the mother who collects Imari china. I hope I pronounced that correctly, the Japanese china, and loves Virginia. So there's an I Love Virginia charm, travels the world. She loves to play, is it bridge? Something with cards. So I've got to make little cards to hang off her.
Okay, so she's not complete yet. She's in process.
Not yet. Almost done.
Okay, but this is a commission. Someone came to you and said, "I want you to make something special for a special person, special occasion."
That's
type of
right,
thing.
and that was what I always did before I started licensing.
So things have come back, sort of full circle, and then in the
Exactly.
meantime, the smaller fanciful flights. The
Right.
thing, I think that's the piece that you're known for so much. When I mention Karen Rossi, when I say the name Karen Rossi, people say immediately, oh, those little, the funny women who are, flying with all the little charms.
Right. Usually
hanging.
they put their arms out and
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. There's a whole mudra attached to it. That's really great. You mentioned earlier something I just want to touch on briefly, and that is the whole idea of licensing. When you started out, as you mentioned just a second ago, you went to trade shows, you have original work, and then came the point where you licensed your work to have someone else produce it. Now, I understand you've had a huge experience with that, and we could devote several shows just talking about the licensing process. Let me just say for the moment that for people who are interested, I know you have a lot of information on your website.
Yes.
But, so we won't go into everything, but do tell me a little bit about maybe what are the biggest benefits and the drawbacks of licensing?
Well, for me, the biggest pluses and minuses had to do with me knowing about licensing and at first only securing very small licenses that didn't really affect me, in my lifestyle or in my bank account very much. They were there and the royalties drizzled in. Artists would receive a royalty just as an author would
Sure.
receive a royalty, a percentage of the sales. But as I was standing in my booth in New York selling my originals one day, the people from a manufacturing company by the name of Silvestri came through, and they asked to license my designs. And at first I folded my arms and I let them know how everything was copyrighted, and I'd been careful to do that through the years, knowing that I might want to license, not exactly my originals, but something someday. And they said, no, we'd like to license these and just exactly as they are. And that was a little wrenching because I didn't know what that would do to my original work. It took them over 2 years for them to come out with the pieces, but when they did, they were just an immediate sensation. And Silvestri, having 60 people on their sales force throughout the United States and, you know, covering the world, they were able to sell millions of pieces with my name on it. So a drawback was that being a big company, they spun my wheels sometimes. You know, they kept me in more ways than one. You know, they kept me very, very busy. The success of it all kept me very busy and was very demanding. My personal life became very sort of on the back burner. And in fact, Greg and I just recently married.
You're newlywed.
Yes, I am.
Much happiness to both of you.
Thank you. But why I ever worried about dating back then, knowing that I would have met somebody wonderful like Greg eventually, just as my mom and my grandmother said, don't worry about it.
That's right, the right one will come along.